Wake up, goddammit. Welcome to MARKETcast with Unk and Market Monk. Good afternoon, P. How was your week?
Really good. Just a lot of setups I was looking at, did really well. Kind of staying on the ones that pull back hard because they've just been getting such good recoveries, like Twillo, Roku, stuff like that. Seeing some pullbacks in some some sectors like healthcare, but our read on like silver and oil and all that, has done really well. So yeah, good week for me. Had a couple really big wins overnight, and when that happens, I don't know what other people do, but I just keep it really, really light after that. There's just no reason to,
Yeah.
you know, to to give it back. I had this AVGO went like from it was like 120 to like $700 or something the next morning, and I'm just like, okay, I'll just kind of call it good here. So yeah, I'm not not looking to just trade every single thing I see. I just think that you get diminishing returns when you do that. So yeah, just staying focused. Small caps did kind of what we thought they would, and yeah, it was good. I mean, just you were gone, and so like we didn't have like our normal workflow, but I think the way we prepped it beforehand, gave us a lot of good setups into the week.
Yeah, I'm definitely one of those guys. It's either 100% or you just don't do it. I try not to half butt it on anything, especially when it comes to other people's money. Um, so
Yeah,
so just throwing up a chart and responding to stuff. I'd rather not do. Did get the read the room list out though, and I think those did okay as well as our voice session. As far as trading went for me though, um, I'm in a lot of swings. Um, Smaller positions. That's why I kind of chuckled when you said you just go smaller positions when you're ahead because I kind of feel like I'm ahead on the year in
yeah.
general. So I'm smaller positions with these swings, but I left a decent nothing. I didn't have any tight stops or anything like that, but nothing really hit a stop loss while I was gone. So it was kind of interesting. I expect one or two of my setups to fail. So I'm pretty much in the same spot from last week. But just mentally behind now. And I kind of want to stress that to people. Like it's 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 one of those things that kind of bother me, and I know it bothers you on a different level. But when people just come in for 5 minutes and make a trade, right, and then they're just leaving, and they come back and say what happened. Like for me, that's like especially after these 10 days, I don't even understand how people do that. Like, what are you? That's just gambling to me. Like, it's gonna take me 2 days to probably get caught up to where I feel comfortable entering another trade. Right? I'm just gonna manage what I have because you really need to be involved. You got to be active in this
Oh
stuff.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, especially like there's some really aggressive moves followed by the other direction a lot. And I say it that way because it happens kind of both ways. Like healthcare gets these big flushes, and then it recovers all day. And then like this SMCI that I've been on. I mean, anyone who wants to trade that based on my note, I'm like, this is probably going to take off, early, and it goes up 5%. And then it's been like going red or almost red. So if you're just going to come in here and buy some weeklies and then leave with options, you cannot do that. I mean, there's just no that just doesn't make any sense to me. And I put a lot of work into these setups and notes and everything, but I can't protect you from that. So people got to protect themselves a bit more, especially with if they're going to be messing with options.
Yeah, that's that square peg round hole thing for me. Like, there's a way to, if you don't have time, because I talk about it all the time. It's kind of how I became successful at trading. To do it if you don't have a lot of time, just find a couple things you believe in and buy over a couple of years. You can't
Yeah.
you can't not have time and play options. That's just those two things are oil and water. It
Right.
seems like.
And if you do, yeah, and if you do want options, I mean, how many times people see me talk about Exxon? Almost never. I don't because I'm always on Oxy, but but Exxon had this big drop of like 4%, and it just happened to coincide with this really strong floor in options where whales don't even let it test 100, which is why I said 102, and it came right back 2 days in a row. It did that. So if if you just have to play options and you don't have a lot of time, okay, wait for Exxon to go to 102, buy something a couple weeks out, and you'll be fine. You'll be green, or you're not. You're at least not going to get destroyed on that, because if Exxon falls under $100, I mean, just with the way the whales are positioned right now, they lose billions, and I just didn't see that happening with where oil was. So I try to be as clear as I can in the notes. Maybe I'll use more of the safety pin, but there's just so much appeal to the higher risk stuff, and I do talk about those setups. I post them, but it's one of the reasons I really try for people with options to get them into that lower IV things where the 1% moves are actually significant, and the stock's also not likely to just completely collapse on you. So that's that's how I'm trying to manage it. It's really hard as a teacher when people step into something advanced before they have a foundation. So um, I think some people just have to lose first before they start to get that.
Yeah,
And
and
I
then
hate to see that, but that's how it goes.
yeah, no, 100%. And for me, I mean, I'm gonna have to use something here that I know because I've been out of the books for a week. But um, like just even not even the entries and the exits, like getting alerts or whatever that people are so obviously needy of or wanting. But like just the ranges that we establish, and I'm gonna bring up the old Tesla right now. I
Yeah.
mean, we call stuff, and it just that's what the levels that are tradable or where it goes could just regularly. And for me, when I was like on my own, kind of like just searching Twitter, right, like wondering what was going on Twitter, um, that was really what it was all I was looking for. Like, how far can these runners run? Because I could enter a trade. Um,
Yeah.
and getting that established range, I think that's what more people need to start there. Like, if the train's left the station or the ship's left the shipyard, you just gotta let it go and go on to the next one. Especially if you're new, because that just gets people gobbled up. I see it all the time. Like, you have the winning trade, and then the initial move is really big, but then it's just consolidation, and people are flushing money in that consolidation because it takes a couple weeks.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. And that's why we talked about MDB,
Yeah.
which was like complete grand slam for, I mean, several different levels I had, and but then it gets up near 400, and it's like, yes, you can go 392 to 396, but they're just it's erratic. It's erratic because there just isn't a lot of history up there recently, and it's not just going to go with QQQ. It's going to just kind of sell off kind of for its own reasons. The picture and the flow isn't as clear, so it's just not always the one to do. And what I said in a note that I tweeted out was that um, the best trade on this is to let it make that aggressive move over 400. I don't know when it's going to happen, but when it does, it's going to pull back from there, and you can short it back to like the three. I think I said 387, and it closed at 388. So that's what I did. I mean, I just waited for it to make that move up there, went a couple weeks out at a strike near my target, and and went from there. And there wasn't a lot of stress to that, because it just wasn't an environment where it's going to go to like 440 without any kind of news or anything. Um, so that's where we are with a lot of this big tech. Is everybody has FOMO? They feel like they missed the move, and I think you just have to either, if you only play the upside, I think that's great, but you just have to wait for it to retrace back down to something you can you know put your feet on the ground, or you can short some of these pops back down, like with Tesla at 280 and several other ones.
Yeah, no, I think that's one thing that we agree on or use the similar as a skill is the waiting for the proper pullback to an established level. Even if it's just the
Yeah,
intraday stuff, even if it's just, the two or three previous day highs, and just getting somewhere stable to stand on, so you're with some other people's money and not just out there on your own. Because if you ever wonder how
yeah,
how your
yeah,
stop loss gets ran through, it's because it's just you and two other guys that bought there that have a stop loss there. And yeah, so and I think that's the market in the larger stuff the rest of the year. Like it's all, I don't want to say overextended, but it's extended to the upside, and it's not gonna be just a straight line up. I think I said that a lot at the first of the year. It's gonna be sideways down, way up, sideways down, way up. Or more like a stair stepper. Um,
yeah,
even on the good stuff, this is just the way the market's gonna be because we still have so much headwinds that haven't been resolved out there. Um, yeah, so we're seeing that. We're still seeing that, like as closer, especially as closer as the elections get, as that ramp up. There's more animosity in that environment going on, and the feds aren't helping us out. Russia's still there. A lot out there. So um, people just thinking we're gonna have, even thinking we're gonna have like 6 or 7 green days at this point. I think that's overly bearish, but the trend's up. So learning how to trade that, I mean, that's
yes,
that's the
yeah,
first thing you have to see is like, you have to find the trend, and then understand how that's going to affect stocks. And yeah, there's plenty of plays out there still besides the
yeah,
the runners that have ran.
and most things that make an aggressive move up, out of the gate, they're going to have some trouble sustaining that full move. So you're going to get a pullback. Sometimes it's going to pull back red. It's going to pull back, further than you might think. But that's why you don't just pick some random stock and trade it. You have a level in mind, and you have that secondary move is what you're looking for. And in the whole option world, that secondary move is so much cheaper anyway. Where, like, I'll use Twillo as an example. So Twillo makes some big move early. Um, those contracts are really expensive those first 30 minutes, relatively speaking. It pulls back to, close to where it opened, and those contracts are $20-$30 cheaper, even though it's the same price, just because you know
Yeah,
there's a lot of different math that goes into it. But basically, like, the Greeks kind of calm down, and then you're at a level, you look at buy and everything, and it's doing okay, and so you can just, trade calls off of that. You're not going to get 100% in 2 minutes, but you're going to get 30% in 15 minutes a lot of times, and that's pretty good. You do that a lot, you're not really, your account's going to do okay. You just kind of, stay in your lane and look for those setups.
definitely. I'm gonna pivot a little bit here because
Yeah.
I want to get into more of the. I want to catch up. I guess I'll just be honest.
Yeah.
Um, but Spy last week. Did you write the numbers down? I'm looking all over my page and I can't find it.
Um. No, sorry, I
I
didn't.
know. I
I
know
was.
we. I know we said 445 was going to be a problem, but I don't know how far down we went. But we do have basically a half bar consolidation on the weekly, um,
Yeah.
which is which is I'm pretty sure where we both were. 145 standing out still to me. Just kind of wondered what you think about the what happened last week and going forward.
Yeah. So just was kind of a lid in options around 445. Like, they just weren't, they were selling a lot of calls up there. And but they also, weren't really letting kind of the floor fall out. There is some downside into the 420s, but it's, into August, so that's kind of something um, I'm looking at. But I don't think, like, for now, they don't seem to want to let this uptrend kind of break down. Um, so I just think it might still be kind of tight this week from what I'm seeing.
Another tight week. I mean, I think as the summer comes along, that's where we are. Um, I mean, we
Yeah.
really don't get above anything until that 460 ish level. I'm sure that would be the top. I'm surprised we stayed above 430 this long. So the consolidation on 430 would still be my overall kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
which from here, I mean, that's not a bad $8 down on SPY isn't like a horrendous week or anything, is it? I think if we break that level,
No.
is that a big level in options? 430,
It's
or is it more the 420
it's
still?
kind it's more like 432 is kind of one that stands out for some reason
Interesting.
that I'm seeing.
So, yeah, they waiting for something. I don't
Uh,
know what it is, but maybe it's just
yeah.
this earnings
What?
season. I mean, that's going to be the kicker this week for me. Is there's going to be some things that report decently, just because
So
expectations are still so low.
yes, yeah, and I'm actually our last 15 going to talk about JPM, but they actually look really good into earnings. And the banks are big. You've got UNH this week, and so yeah, that's going to be interesting. But yeah, real quick on SPY. So if you look at the open interest overall, the ones that are like six-figure open interest, like the biggest contracts, would be September 400p, but it's now 91% bid side, and over the last several months, that has completely flipped, where it was all ask, used to be in the money, obviously, but whales are basically just selling a lot of those. It's about $220. So someone who's you know based on macro reasons or whatever thinks that SPY is going to go back to 400 this fall, that would be an attractive one for them to buy. But whales they're just selling it, and you see that this bullish puts completely dominate the open interest on SPY right now. All like in the low 400s, some in the 300s later on. So it's they're not putting their neck out there for upside, but they're just selling a lot of puts. So it's still bullish positioning, hedging, whatever you want to call it. But they're they're thinking we build a pretty good floor up here, I think.
Yeah, I don't see this 411 coming back. I don't
Yeah.
in this year without some big news. Um, changing the path we're on with the Feds, or someone drops a nuke over there in Europe. Um, I
Yeah.
just don't see
Yeah.
it happening for this week, though. I just don't. Looking at the chart, I mean, SPY's a tough one for me. If this was a regular chart, they ain't keeping the lid on this much longer. And earnings is a good. Like I always try to have a reason to trade, right? Like news reason, and the earnings
Yeah.
season coming back again with the lower expectations. It seems like people are figuring it out in general. I think it's gonna be hard to keep the lid on this thing. I mean, I don't think we're gonna run far. Let's not do nothing crazy here, but I don't think they're gonna be able to keep a lid on it again this week. So I'm gonna go first because I
Well,
was.
and
Uh,
if
Go ahead. Go ahead.
and if I mean if tech pulls back, which definitely it could, like Amazon Prime Day is typically actually a pretty bearish event,
Yes.
but like so stuff like that. But you got to remember like SPY, a lot of oil, a lot of healthcare, staples, like so it that will absorb some of the shock of any kind of tech downside, which is sort of what I see as well.
Okay. Okay. Did speaking of Amazon Prime Day, did the was it FedEx or UPS that was striking?
UPS.
Did they resolve that?
And
Did we fix that?
I don't know. I don't think they have yet. It's they're still going.
Okay. I was just curious on that. See, I got to get caught up on all this crap. Um, I'm gonna go first here, just because I'm on
Yep.
less information, so I don't want to steal your information. I'm
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the bear side though this week, or to the bull side this week, like I usually would. Um, Kind of hard to pick a number out on any of these charts without going crazy high. Yeah, like I can't go 62. I'm gonna go 452 this week. But with the
Nice.
downside, we're at 38 here. I'm gonna go 36 on the downside. So that's a huge range. 436, 452. That's a huge range because, yeah, because I wasn't here last week.
Yeah.
um,
I'm gonna. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
no, just not much downside. I really don't see much downside. I'm surprised we didn't already have it, to be honest with you. Over the last month. Um, Spy looks strong, P.
I agree. I think we're gonna get a brief flush a little lower, but I think it's gonna bounce back pretty quickly. So I'm gonna say 432 and
I do like that number.
for look at some of these options here. Uh, I'll say 448.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Now I don't feel so bad anymore. Okay. Nice. Nice. Look at this guy.
Yeah, I think we'll
Um.
close the week pretty strong.
Nice. Got anything to say about Pet Rock over there? The old crypto.
Oh yeah, so
30K
there
has been
was
on it.
yes, there was some really weird stuff happening with Binance all weekend. Kind of well, it's not even weird for them anymore, but before their spot price was dipping like 3,000 less than what Bitcoin's current price is, and so Binance is full of a lot of wash trading and
Yes.
stable coin, you know, crap and all that stuff. So something was kind of going on there. The the major crypto stocks. I mean, 80 is a tough level for coin. Um, MSTR in the 290s, seems to be having some issues. So I think it's a point where we're either going to stay pretty flat and sideways, or some news is going to push it, one direction or the other. And I think that's pretty imminent that's going to happen. And it's again one of those things where short term, I don't see whales really sticking their neck out for these larger caps, but the small cap crypto, I think could really keep moving because I'm seeing them move into some that I don't see as often, and they're getting a little more aggressive with those.
Mine?
So some of the well, yeah, the Clean Spark, I think that's one of them.
Yeah.
Um,
CLSK.
yeah, we'll be talking about that one, and then there's this one Wolf that I hadn't really seen before that, and not WULF, not OLF, not the semiconductor, but yeah. So there's some of that going on, and so I think there's a lot of room there. But yeah, coin getting really risky up near 80 to me.
Yeah, I mean,
They're the one that might take a hit.
for me, I mean, that's kind of what I mean by our level thing I was talking about earlier, and I didn't want to list a bunch of stocks because there's too dang many. But there's some stuff that we
Yeah,
have that if you don't have a lot of time, you just wait for it to happen. Coin 53 to 76 has happened how many times? I mean,
right, right.
and that's like a 50% trade. It might be 40 something, 46.3, I don't know. But it's a good trade. It's a really good trade. It's a really safe trade, really easy trade. And I just, for me, that range, I don't want to get back on that too much. But for me, there's a ton of those. So you guys that have trouble
Yeah,
finding entries, just wait for those ones that there's probably 10 of them. We probably should just make a list of 10 of them, um, because man, there's some that are very consistent like that, and the crypto's been a
yeah. And
blessing.
I did. When you get a chance, take a look at Hot Stove. I kind of did that
Okay,
for the ones I normally trade
I mean, but
that have some low.
which crypto did we have a bad entry on at this point?
Yeah, I mean, ever since my last bad crypto trade was Nile. Um, that was a long time ago.
Oh
So
jeez.
it even it's gone through like another ticker change since then. But yeah, no, I mean, coin, Mara, all that stuff. We've done well, and then even it's like Mara goes 18%, and we're like, well, we like that one, and it goes off like that, and then Riot only goes like 8%, and we didn't do that one. So
Yeah, the
shows we're really picky, and that
the
works too.
the Hut Hive and CLSK have been some really good swings for me. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
especially if you just bought at that level, kind of, just got put what you could in and just wait for it. And man, it's easy to do. I mean, once you get up enough and you're above a level that you trust, and you just put a stop loss there in case something dramatic happens. You That's letting your runners run on the swing side. And I just think I said it probably start of the year, but I've really been saying the last 3 months because that's what I've been doing. And um, the the swings are there. You just got to find stuff that hasn't ran yet. All those B-rated stocks are the stuff in the sector that hasn't got picked back up. That's
yeah,
not going
yeah.
anywhere. What else you got out there?
Well, and also
Go
the
ahead.
real quick on
Yeah.
the miners in particular. I mean, there was an actual number in of Bitcoin's price where it's like it's impossible for them to make money mining
Yes.
crypto
Yeah. No,
when
we talked
when
about
we were
that. Yeah.
towards the bottom,
Yep.
and then once you get above that, their potential just goes up dramatically, and then they just had all this room on the chart to the upside, and that's why they went 100% or more share side. So
Well,
yeah,
well,
that was what we were looking
Bitcoin
for.
did as well. It was like 17K. Now it's back to 30. I mean, that's like
Yeah,
gained
yeah,
75% or whatever. That's a lot. Um, yeah,
yeah,
I mean, people
yeah.
just don't do the basic math sometimes. It seems like. Um, yes.
Right, right.
What else you got this on your normal stuff? Your your boring crap that
Well,
you trade over there.
so yeah, yeah. So yeah, copper has held on to this $3.75 level. That's been big. I talked before about how for those copper stocks, like they would really start to break down aggressively if copper headed towards 350. Has not done that. These little trips under 370 have been pretty brief. You look at the chart, there's some daily wicks in the 360s. It just doesn't last though, and it comes back. So that's promising. If that starts to make a move, towards 380 or four in a couple of weeks, you'll see a lot of those take off. That's good for steel and aluminum as well. And oil, um, we're back 73.61. So that held together. That I talked before about how you didn't really want to see that get much below 68 or something like that. So there's some promise there. A lot of those charts pulled back significantly, so they have a lot of decent room to the upside. So calls are kind of lower risk there. Gold and silver been kind of quiet, but I really do like our entries there. We got into I think I got into silver about a week and a half ago, and that was pretty much the bottom for now. So just looking for them to um, keep going. Kind of it'll be sort of a slow grind unless you get banking news that sends them up or something like that.
Definitely. Um, yeah, I don't have much to add to obviously I was in the pool and on the golf course. So
Yeah,
but what I did see and what I do check in, I think the squeezes are continuing, and I think we're onto a couple of them already. Um, fake meat,
yeah,
fake meat might be one of them, but we'll probably talk about that in the next session. Um, but yeah, I think we're in a healthy spot. Summer is coming, but I think we'll be not necessarily, I don't just want to say small caps because I I've hung out with you enough to know that you need more than just to say the size of the stock. I think certain sectors
right,
there's
right.
just some laggers, and a lot of those are the smaller caps, um, because they're not as large companies, but they're very unique, and they're gonna maybe come out of the not the recession, but inflation better than most. Kind of like how the Bitcoin companies we just talked about, how they're profitable at a certain number. Some other companies the same way. Um, with
Yes,
the interest
and
rates coming down, they become more profitable. With the new positioning, maybe cheaper office space and stuff like that, they become more profitable. Redesigning their business, kind of like Facebook, they become more profitable. That kind of stuff, I think, is very active in what we need to be trading the rest of the year. So, um, yeah,
yeah, I agree. And
it's out
I don't know
there.
if you caught China Friday kind of came back with Baba made this crazy move, 8%, I think. And so if you look at Hang Seng, the last one I'll mention, it was sort of on the edge of falling back down. 18,000 is the number for that one. It got to like 18,200, I think. Uh, Came back, went up 2% Friday. So so yeah, the China pullback might be getting some relief. Hang Seng starts to head back to 20,000, then you'll see a lot of those names start to catch up, and we're familiar with how to trade China, so definitely want to stay on those two.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite sectors just because of the variety you get over there. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah,
you can pretty much trade anything you want.
yeah,
Perfect. You ready to get to work? Um,
yeah. Let's do it.
Perfect.